Welcome to another episode of the Contagious Culture podcast. I am your host, Kyle King, and the goal of this podcast is to help you create an ecosystem of academic excellence. Today is a bonus episode that was inspired by looking at a lot of the landscape of education in our economy. We recognize that people are losing their jobs. People are in career fields that they don't like. Companies are underpaying people are getting laid off. And we recognize the importance on this podcast of not just talking about culture, not just talking about school development initiatives, but being able to be a place where we're empowering people. So today we're going to be sharing a 4-step method with you that's going to help you, if leveraged correctly, build the career framework and the success that you not just desire, but that you deserve. Step number one, when you're looking at different careers, I've heard the quote by David Shands, who is a successful entrepreneur, podcaster, author, that the size of the paycheck that you receive is based upon the size of the problem that you are solving. Now, this isn't true in every industry because educators are solving major problems in the classroom and their pay scale doesn't necessarily align with this model. But in many cases, the size of the problems that you're solving, there's a correlation between the size of the paychecks that you're often getting. Surgeons are making more than general practitioners. Surgeons are making much more than the front office assistant because the problems that they're approaching when they're working to literally save people's lives on a daily basis is deemed to be more valuable than someone filing paperwork. Now, not saying that assistants or administrative teams are not valuable, but in the essence of what we're going to talk about today, the first step is one thing I want you to understand is market, problem, and solution. And there's 4 market things that I want you to understand: market, problem, and solution, market mentor, market leverage, and then market opportunity. Again, market, problem, and solution, market mentor, market leverage, and market opportunity. I'll give you a second to write those down. When we think about step number 1, market, problem, and solution, when you are approaching a new career or exiting your career, I want you to think about a few things. What problem, ideally, do you care about solving? Now, this isn't just getting to the point of understanding passions and following your calling and following your dreams, but I want you to really think about what are some problems that you care and that you are passionate about solving. I was having a conversation with a few colleagues of mine years ago, and they were mentioning that they just weren't motivated with the work that they're doing because they don't feel like they're being challenged. They don't feel motivated or inspired because they don't feel like there's problems that they're solving. They feel like the task and the work is very mundane. And I've been there. And that's why I loved teaching, because every day is a different lesson. Every day is a different opportunity. Some days you don't know what you're going to get from different students. There's different conversations. There's different ways to blend and differentiate learning. There's different ways to be able to connect, different openings and exit tickets. And there's always something that's different that's thrown out at you every single day. And that's why I loved working in certain spaces. And I recognized the positions that I took that were very methodical and the same thing every single day were challenging for me to really be invested in. So when you think about work that you want to do as you think through your next career move, I want you to think of that question. What problem do you actually care about? Whether that is fatherhood or parenting, whether that is accounting and, finance, what are different ways or things that you are actually wanting to either learn more about or solve those problems? Now, when you think about the market, problem, and solution, another way to look at this is when you think about those problems, what solutions can you provide? And when you look at your experience, when you look at whether your volunteering experience, college experience, personal or professional experience, work experience, all of the experiences in your life, how have you created potential solutions that can align with that problem that you're trying to solve? How can you go get opportunities or understand various things so that you can learn how to best equip yourself to solve those specific problems? I'll give you an example. I have built a nationally recognized consulting firm that works with schools, charter and private schools that are independently managed, to be able to help them mobilize resources, fundraise, and have more purpose-driven initiatives within their schools. We help them build communities, identify partners, accelerate their corporate giving, expand their overall schools, and work with their development teams to be able to raise money. I've done that as a board member. I've done that as a director of school culture. I've done that as a school founder. I've done that raising funds as an entrepreneur. I've done that in college. I interned and shadowed the corporate giving or the school giving and fundraising department. I was a keynote speaker at galas that were focusing on fundraising. So in a lot of my experience, I've worked in the realm of what I am doing. That's why I understand nonprofits, because I've volunteered on nonprofit boards. I've worked as a strategist and a consultant with specific nonprofits as well as with schools. So I understand the problems that I want to solve, but I also have a multitude of experience. I've written books about these various things. I have a multitude of experience, not direct experience sometimes, but also lateral experiences that can all wrap around to help me solve those issues. Now, I want you to document these problems that you care about solving. And then I want you to document and put a line next to how you potentially have solved these issues or led work connected to some of these issues that you care about solving. Now, step 2, this would be your market mentor. Now that we understand a market problem and solution, now we need to go find a market mentor. This is an individual that is closely connected to some of those problems. Let's say you want to go and do fundraising, or you want to work with domestic violence survivors, and you recognize that you were once one of those, and you recognize there's nonprofits out there that are doing it, and you recognize on LinkedIn you're connected to somebody that works at a nonprofit that does that specific work. I want you to identify 50 people, 50, whether it's in your phone, whether it's in your email, whether it's past friends, colleagues, whether it's people on your Facebook network or your LinkedIn profile. I want you to identify 50 people that are connected to either a problem or committed to doing the solutions that you've listed, that have some type of indirect or direct connection to the problem or the solution that you have documented on that sheet. The purpose of this exercise is because it's not just about you identifying problems and solutions. One of the challenges that I've recognized, that the reason that people don't advance, move forward, have different opportunities within careers is because they don't have a mentor. They don't have a gatekeeper. They don't have someone that could move things forward for them or open up doors for them. So everyone needs a career sponsor. In many of my professional careers that I've lived, I've had someone that was able to get me in a door, get me an interview, get me an opportunity, review a proposal. And because of those relationships, it allowed me to make a change or get a position that allowed me to showcase my knowledge, showcase my skills, and showcase my expertise. The same will help you as well. It doesn't matter where you are in your professional career. Now, some of us may have more connections, but all of us have at least 1 to 5 people that we can reach out to be able to do these next few steps. So I want you to identify 50 people, whether you know them or not, that are in your network or out of your network that you can get closely connected to, or you can send a message to, or send a DM to, or write an email to, or pick up the phone and call, or someone that is connected to someone that you know that you can allow to be your market mentor. Now, when we write down this list, the next thing to do is what we call market leverage. Ask that individual if they can connect, recommend, or interview you for a specific position. Now, what I would do, rather than just updating your resume and all of these various tactical things that you can do, what I would recommend is identifying what you would want to do exactly. I would go on to ChatGPT or an AI website and say, hey, Chat, I am a career professional that really cares about XYZ. In my professional and personal experience, I've done these various things. The type of work that I would want to do is I would want to work from home. I would want to meet with people. And I want you to be sharing various things that would make you smile as you're talking about it. I would want to make this amount of money. I would want to solve these problems. I would want to commit to doing this type of work. I would want to work with these types of people. I would want to engage with these types of companies. Can you write me a job description and job title that aligns with this specific information that I provided? There's too many apps out there and there's too many tools that will allow you to create the job description that you would want. So now when you reach out to people, now when we focus on step 3, market leverage, now when you're reaching out to these 50 people, it's not just, hey, I need a job. Can you help me? It's now I'm able to connect and I'm able to recommend, see if this person can recommend me for positions or get them to interview me for the specific job that I developed that is in alignment with my experience, my passion, my love, the problems that I want to solve, the solutions that I can bring, and it's in alignment with something that I would actually care about. These people are in my immediate or indirect market. So these people know me or are familiar with me in some type of way. And I would say I would send it to these individuals and say, here's my resume. Here's a perfect job description. Do you have anything within your company or in your network that would align with this type of job description? Now they see that you've done your homework. Now that they see that you're clear in what you're doing. Now they see that you've already done or you've already solved these issues or are aware of these specific problems, or you're more intentional now with the companies that you're looking up to. You could go back on an AI site and say, hey, with this job description, what types of companies should I be looking at? What types of positions should I be applying for? Can you give me the title? So now I'm more intentional with my searching process. One thing that I will say, if you don't get anything from this episode, leveraging people and human capital will get you to your goal and your dream much quicker, exponentially quicker than leveraging your own work ethic. Now, it's going to require work. It's going to require research. It's going to require some outreach and some engagement, but relationships are the breadcrumbs to your destiny. And it's in developing those relationships, leveraging those relationships, and then being able to acknowledge those relationships that are paramount. So step 1 is market problem and solution, identify it. Step 2 is identify a market mentor. Step 3 is have market leverage through asking these 50 people if they can connect you with a position, recommend you for a position that is in alignment with the specific job description, or interview you for a position in alignment with this specific job description that they're aware of. As a part of market leverage as well, once you have your job description, identify your problem and solution, I would recommend creating content online about that specific area. Now, once you start to engage with new people or connect with 100 people on LinkedIn and they see your post about solving that problem, they see your expertise, they see your thought leadership in that specific way, this will allow you to separate yourself from just people that are applying to jobs or wanting jobs and people that are actually thought leaders in a specific space. Now, what that content creation looks like, this could be a weekly article. This could be you going live like I am. This could be you commenting under somebody else's page when they're talking about a specific idea or topic. This could be contributing to conversation. How can you showcase that you know what you're talking about, that you're aware of these various things, and you have valuable input to these specific topics? And then step 4 is market opportunity. It's important for you to write your dream position so that you can go after your dream position. When I was a board member at a local charter school in North Carolina, I saw a lot of the problems that we were experiencing as a school district. I talked about these problems over and over again on the board. But I recognize as a board, my goal and my role is about governance. It's not about execution. It's not about all these different things. And there was only so much that I could do to be able to get some of these problems solved. So I stepped off the board. I wrote up a proposal. I sent it to the board members and I said, I want to do this. This is a perfect job. This is what we need. This is how I solve it. And here's my salary that it would cost for me to do this work. Within 2 weeks, I got a yes. So I was now stepping into my dream role, aware of the problem, aware of the team, and able to execute because I sold them on the solutions that I would bring. Within that year, we made change. We created impact. We built relationships. We had partnerships. We fundraised. We did all of the various things that this document that I created communicated. It allowed me to leverage that experience to be able to continue to build a consulting model that's now allowed us to work with schools doing the same work across the country, publish a book about the same work, and leveraging that case study to showcase, to get me into different opportunities. Just by building relationships, understanding problems, having a mentor and a gatekeeper to get me in the door, understanding how to leverage these specific positions, and then creating opportunities. When we think about market opportunity, go get your dream position. Invite people to get coffee, learn from them, ask questions and learn. I recognize how hard it is to get opportunities. I also recognize how terrible applying to jobs and going through that whole process and continuing to get, we chose someone else, we went with someone more qualified, and all of these different things feel. I recognize it. In many of my transitions, I've applied to hundreds of jobs. And in the application of hundreds of jobs, 2 or 3 reached out, maybe got 1 or 2 emails. But 100% of the time, when I have reached out to someone in my network, it has gotten me one step closer to an opportunity that allowed me to showcase my skill, showcase my ability, and be able to make change, be able to provide for my family. I'm not saying to stop applying to jobs. What I am communicating to you is to leverage these 4 steps to not just have a job, but to build a career that is in alignment with passion, with a problem that you care about, and a solution that you are already equipped to solve. My name is Kyle King. This is the Contagious Culture Podcast. We'll see you next episode.